The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash, with a silver hat about his head, and a bristling black mustache. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold. And the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
What's going on, Raider Nation? Ghost here talking Broncos, Raiders. The big AFC West rivalry is back. One of the best in the division. Sorry, not saying any offense to the Chiefs and Chargers, but Broncos, Raiders is where it's at. Here's the thing. A few fast keys. Obviously the defense. I know the defense got some stops when it mattered. They made plays on the ball. They got turnovers. But it still doesn't take away the fact that we gave up yards and we were giving up receptions left and right. Peyton Manning, we all know what he's capable of doing. He can throw picks too, but our defense hasn't shown that they can get stops. Still not impressed with our defense, and I know it's not all McKenzie's fault. We had a bad cap situation, a lot of things to work around. Have a bunch of no-namers in the secondary due to the fact that our CB depth is thin. With that being said, the safeties were poor last game. This is Tyvon Branch, Michael Huff, Michael Mitchell. They don't look very good in coverage. It doesn't matter who's in the secondary. I'm not impressed. And that's really the big red flag right now with this defense is what the secondary is going to give up. Big Ben torched us last game, regardless of those turnovers. It doesn't matter. The defense was bad. They're going to have to fix that, and they're going to need to really get way better this game against the Broncos. I know Demaryius Thomas may not be as good as Mike Wallace is, but he's still capable of making big plays. Eric Decker has been a good possession receiver for the Broncos. Peyton Manning, he can get rid of the ball faster than Roethlisberger. He only needs 1 or 2 seconds, and I don't want to see any soft, easy, cheesy coverage going on these receivers. Because Peyton Manning's just going to throw left and right. He's going to throw this ball at least 70% of the time when we're watching this game. It just wouldn't surprise me if it goes like that. The coverage needs to get way better, with that being said. The other half, of course, on the defense, the running game. Willis McGahee's had a pretty good season, and last year in the second half, the Broncos were able to run the ball. If anyone remembers last year's game, it was that disgusting touchdown to end the third quarter. I think it was McGahee who ran 60 or 70 yards. I don't remember the exact measurement, but I was at that game, and I was disgusted just to see a fat touchdown allowed like that, the way the Raiders did. The run defense was poor as well. We really haven't seen a good run defense. I know statistically we did well against the Chargers and Steelers, but those two teams don't run the ball well. The Steelers were without Rashard Mendenhall. Chargers were without Ryan Matthews. So, running game is going to need to get better because Reggie Bush torched us a couple weeks ago. McGahee has the signs of doing the same in terms, just because our linebackers are still inexperienced, with the exception of Rolando McClain, who still looks a little slow and lazy. I'm very annoyed at that. Miles Burris has done all right. Philip Wheeler's done all right, but we'll need to see how they do against McGahee. The whole running game, the run defense still, they did well last week, but it's the Steelers' run game that wasn't a factor. So the Broncos' running been better. It's been improved. So the defense pretty much will decide this game. That's how I will see it. The offense, it can't be predictable. I still think Greg Knapp was very, very bad this last game. I know we got down the field, but I give more credit to Carson Palmer for what he did, because if you watch the game and maybe rewatch some of the tape, you could tell that Carson Palmer called some audibles. He saw something he didn't like in the defense, and Carson Palmer is unofficially our second offensive coordinator just because he's making adjustments at the line of scrimmage. I think this is the thing that the Raiders haven't had, is the leadership of Palmer, and he had his best game as a Raider last week. No denying. That said, the interception wasn't even his fault. He was clutch. He was throwing to guys like Derek Hagan and, of course, Denarius Moore and Brandon Myers, out of all people. These are no-namers by most. No one's going to know those names. That being said, receivers are going to have to step it up. We're going to need to see a lot of improvement there. I don't know. I'm just not impressed. The running game, I think Von Miller's improved their defense. But I think the offense will score. That's not the issue. I don't expect us to look as predictable or ticky-tack, easy, vanilla offense. It's more the defense I'm concerned about. That's pretty much what I see for this game. Let me know what you guys think.
Save me. Hey, I just met you. That play was crazy. What's his number? I'll call it maybe. It's hard to call right. Every play. What's his number? I'll call it maybe.
Alright, now you wouldn't think that I would be talking about, just from an NFL perspective, like whatever happened last night. That was disgusting. The officiating, and we all have seen the media talk about it. I haven't had to see a game where I'm complaining about the refs 100% for a game. Yes, there was that no call for Hayward Bay's hit, and some things the Steelers got away with. From a Raider perspective, it's been kind of nice, these replacement officials, for the sake they're not calling a bunch of BS against the Raiders. I mean, for the most part, the penalties we've been watching were legit penalties, and we're not seeing stupid penalties or unofficially horrible penalties that weren't called or shouldn't have been called. So the penalties have been reduced for the Raiders, and a lot of it's been good discipline. But with what happened with your replacement refs in Seattle was disgusting. If it weren't for that one play that was called by Walt Coleman, which in the snow, we all know that infamous game, this was one of the worst calls last night, that Hail Mary. Congrats to Seattle fans, but here's your discussion of NFL, just as an NFL fan. This is really horrible, this lockout. It almost feels better that a locked out season is better than watching these referees being locked out just because they're ruining the game, and now they're deciding the game. It was chaotic last night. I thought that there was some questionable penalties, I think, on the Ravens the night before. There was some real chippy penalties, and there's a bunch of no calls. I mean, people forget Golden Tate was pushed off, I believe, on the Packers defender. There was offensive pass interference that wasn't called. The referees were split in deciding the touchdown versus a touchback. It was amazing. That was an interception 100%, but the offensive pass interference wasn't even called. And chaos in Seattle just emerged. I feel real bad if you're a Packers fan, and I just don't want to see these games being tainted as bad as they are right now. It's really a joke that the NFL referees are locked out. I'm not going to blame it all on Goodell like some of you probably are, but whatever's happening, they get a deal done, because these games are not going to be fun. The only thing is, I don't have sympathy for the gamblers at all last night. Gambling, if you're a gambler, I recommend you guys just don't gamble NFL games with the way these referees are. It's stupid. I don't like gambling much at all in the terms of betting money on the games, depending on it for your life. Some people do that. It's not cool. Just gambling is wrong anyway. But in the sense that you can affect the game with the refs, it's pretty screwed up. Just don't depend on it. Referees, please, just get a deal done with the referee association or union, whatever you want to call it. It was disgusting. Really disgusting. Let me know what you thought of how the officiating's been. That's the big discussion on this video besides the game. Let me know what you guys thought, because there was a lot of ticky-tack calls that I haven't seen. And those of you who are NFL fans watching your own team have probably seen a lot of calls too that weren't really good. Let me know what you guys think. See you guys later. Go Raiders.